And I have a couple of questions of Bannon that I'm going to get to in just a second because he's such a fascinating and compelling and kind of larger than life character, both on the pages of your book and in real life. But I do want to briefly pick up on something you mentioned, which is that Trump, despite his many flaws, he has just won the Republican nomination for the third time. When you look at polls, he has a slight, or he may have a slight advantage on President Biden at this moment in time. Title of your book is Finish What We Started. You mentioned hearing that language from some other major figures in the movement. If Trump is successfully elected this November, what exactly do his supporters want him to finish?
So, I mean, I think we should look to what Trump has said himself. He's been very clear, and I'm not, you know, obviously he said he wanted to be a dictator on day one, and then he said he was joking, but he meant it. And that's sort of a game that Trump is always playing. Um, but in all seriousness, the agenda for a second term that he has laid out is um, is picking up exactly where they left off in the first term and going much farther. It is and accomplishing that with what would be a staff that would be much more bought in and much less likely to try to restrain him or resist those orders. That the Trump who would be president again for a second term would be much more determined to use the power of the federal government, um, not only uh, to ram over the traditional checks and balances on policy matters, but also being much more directly. I mean, he uses the language going after his critics and political opponents.